Notion.
But we were nipping around town. That wasn't.
That's the key point. My name's Cam Hughes. I'm a bike fitter at Valley Clinic. Close friends Andy and Teresa. We've worked together over a few years and we've been out and I'm sure loads of food and pizzas and stuff like that as well. When they popped up to say they've got this bike from Travello to go out and ride it and just give an honest review, Andy just said something without us, like without the camera rolling, sort of taking the video. He reckons you could just ride this bike all day, which is quite a key point and aspect of this bike. Teresa said you could jump on it and just ride around town, so it's from straight away from two people with the same households, but very, very different levels of what they'd like to do. They both said they'd ride it short distances, long distances quite comfortably. So talking about, I got on the bike and rode around the car park and my dog was running around next to me. The gears are silent, which I loved. That belt drive, just nice and smooth, just tap the gears and just keep pedalling around. No clunk, 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 clunk. In terms of the geometry, instantly it felt quite smooth, turned really, really sharply. There was nothing that you went, oh, this is a bit twitchy or nervous. So relays a bit of confidence to the rider as well. The colour of the bike I really like the combo. We also picked up on trying to get the priority, the manufacturer's name on the bike a bit bolder. So we like to be a bit bold in some colours, but not all the time. So it's trying to pick the right colour to stand out. But as a setup for a bike, from a bike fitter's perspective, having a bike that's so versatile from a one bike that does everything, you could put a set of road tyres on there. I was at a road race yesterday, or a track race yesterday, and there was a guy on a gravel bike with 42mm wide tyres racing around a Cat 3, Cat 4 race at Thruxton. So it was really, really good fun. And it shows you that those bikes they're very, very versatile. They're not just a one-trick pony. So I'm not saying this is your road racer, but this is certainly capable of being able to go a long distance, either on the road or off-road. Really good control. Yeah, and the only thing I would say is with cable pulled brakes, often with either smaller hands or maybe weaker forearms, for some people it's really, really hard to get the levers to actually actuate correctly. So it doesn't feel as if you've got enough pressure on the brake to create the stopping distance that you want. So sometimes it's a bit of a shock when the brakes aren't working. So it was probably the only thing I would want to change on the bike is the brakes, really. Change them to a hydraulic and carry on. For me, having internal hub gears makes it really, really smooth. So we get loads of grit and sand just locally to where I am. But most of the south of the UK, we get quite a lot of poor weather with poor road surface or poor off-road surfaces. That can end up in your gears, and you just hear your chain every ride just like costing you more money. So your belt drive just goes on, just ride it. We then spoke about what if these gears aren't like easy enough, and quite simply you could change your front chain ring, get a new belt to lengthen it, or move the horizontal axle back to create tension, so you could possibly change the front chain ring if you're riding the steepest of steep stuff. But like Andy and Teresa said, it goes up and down really, really well over most things around near us, which I think is probably about 20% gradient or around there off-road, which is quite good. So if you're getting up and down that on a gravel bike, I'd say it covers all bases, really. You guys got any questions?
Would you buy one?
So I would, yeah. So for me, my commute is 4 miles, and if I could ride something to work that I don't have to service, I don't have to worry about wear and tear. I've got a little hook up there for a bike. Like it's the perfect thing to shove up there, really. For me, I go across road, then across a common, which is rocky and lumpy and bumpy, and then back onto road again. So 4 to 5 miles. If I wanted to, I can then lengthen out my commute if I get time, or if I want to just go and ride at lunchtime, I've got a bike to go and do that. So,
do you think that's the right sort of bike for that kind of commute
commute, gravel? I would have to, for a cyclocross race, I would want to put some cyclocross tyres on and actually go ride it. But I don't think you'd be in the worst case scenario. I think there's probably cyclocross bikes that are in a worse geometry setup than what you've got here. So,
what about what the frame's made of and the weight of it from a?
Yeah, so you got aluminium with is it a carbon fork, I believe?
Yep.
So aluminium frame. Quite a lot of cyclocross bikes. Quite a lot of really good entry level bikes are aluminium. So for me, it's not an off-putting thing. It's robust and reliable. So if you drop it, you're not necessarily going to panic and think you've fractured your carbon fibre frame.
Are you worried about the lack of belt drive bikes for getting spares and things?
Not really. I think if you speak to your local dealer or somebody local who can service it, having worked in a bike shop, I don't think I've ever come across anybody who snapped a belt drive. Working in bike shops for 6-7 years, I've seen plenty of people servicing the Shimano hubs, internal gears. So I know you need to keep a service maintenance program with it in order for the warranties and in order for your reliability. So if you've got a car that runs and it's mechanical, you need to change the oil and change the filter quite regularly in order for that engine to be, sustain its integrity. But yeah, it's as with everything. As long as you service it and take care of it, it will take care of you.
And as a bike fitter, it's easy. You talk about crank length and things like that. Do you think it's easy to get different crank lengths for that particular setup?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think it would be difficult to get a change in crank length. I'm not too sure what the sizes come with, but there's certainly in the UK you've got enough amazing engineers that create different crank lengths, and they have done for over 40 years. So, the right people around, you could get it machined if you needed to, if you really needed something bespoke. But most bikes now from size small are going shorter anyway, so 165 up to the bigger bikes 175. So maybe I don't know what the manufacturer priority have got on theirs, but it would be good to see something reflected like that in keeping with current trend.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers. Awesome looking bike.